Hi everyone, my name is Danni and I'm a newly deemed professional ghostbuster in the MP exploratory field. I'm here to talk to you about the dangers of ghostbusting and how you should leave it to the professionals such as my team and I, TBI. I'll explain the hardships we've gone through and the intense amount of training it takes to become the people who we are today. We have been through everything in order to see ourselves in this position. Now I come to you with all the facts, details, and side information about this particular profession. If you have the potential to become a future Ghostbuster in the MP Exploratory Academy for Ghostbusting, please consider it. Anyways, moving on. So I'm going to talk to you about the training and career and what it takes for you to follow my path. So, fear. This is what I'm going to talk to you about. Fear dictates the mind and manipulates your senses. During Ghostbusting, fear is your enemy, not the spirits you are searching for. To overcome the fear of darkness, the unknown, undisturbed auras, accepting help, of failure, of being possessed, procrastination, and of unpreparedness, you must experience each and every one individually. Ghostbusting is about overcoming fears and being able to conquer them. The fear of darkness, in most cases called the fear of the unknown, is notorious for nervous breakdowns and apprehension towards any mission and or assignment. I feel that my fear of darkness, or the unknown, was lingering. It didn't hit me until I came to full realization. Almost like a spirit on a limbo, not alive, but can still pop up anywhere at any time. Almost ever since I was accepted into the MP Exploratory Academy for Ghostbusting, I was afraid of what would come at the end of the year. Was there something hiding, waiting for me, waiting to jump out and scare me when I needed to be at my calmest? Those are questions I had to ask myself. But yet, here I am, standing in front of you, given with a few bumps and bruises, but overall pretty much intact. I jumped headfirst into whatever challenge the MP Exploratory Academy threw at me, and I was able to take a few blows to the shin when needed. Spirits attacking the iPads, killing the plants with their miasma, and manipulating my senses. It was definitely rough. There was a time when I felt that everything that was leading up to the MP Exploratory Academy final, every mission, every assignment, was still not going to be enough to lead me to success in the end. Yet, I was able to overcome the fear of darkness, the unknown, the spirit lingering on the limbo, and still be able to stand tall. So, here are some evidence that I'd like to show you right now. So, I'm going to focus on this first picture here. So, my fear was the fact that the MPI and chef competition was creeping up on me. I was afraid of what was to come and what I'd have to expect. Was I prepared? Was everything that was being taught to us enough to lead me to the final and be able to have me be successful in the end? In this first picture, you see the grading rubric of the mock competition, and that's when I first realized how close we were. In the second photo, you see me holding the beads. The reason why this is a very important part of the evidence is because what if we didn't have enough of the competition? What if we didn't have enough vegetables in general? The whole concept of the final was very scary, and I think that overall we were pretty much prepared for it. In this last picture here, you see a blog post about me explaining how we came up with a good planning idea for our stir fry. That was another thing that we struggle with because that certain dish is very hard to plate in a way that's appealing to the eye. So there are a few missions with ours who didn't mean any harm. It's hard to set the fact that they weren't disturbed but able to help me through whatever I needed to be helped with. Even to this day, it's still hard for me to accept the fact that spirits can be helpful instead of harmful. For example, there was a time when I was assigned a mission in a rundown old house where the previous owner had died in the kitchen. He helped me through the process of clearing out the house. Apparently, he was a former chef at a community college. His advice for dealing with disturbed auras are still skills that I use to this day in my professional career, such as handling knives against disturbed spirits and how to create different essences and concoctions to help me calm the hungry souls. I thought at first I couldn't take any advice from any ghost. I thought the information I had was already enough to set me down the right path and hunt any specific spirit, but it turned out that in the end, advice was necessary and very helpful. After this one experience, my viewpoint on any given help from any person will change tremendously. So here's some evidence that I'd like to analyze with you right now. So, in this first photo here, this is a reflection blog post explaining the extra help my group and I had received at KCC from the chef. He explained different cutting techniques and different plating techniques that we could use, especially for stir fry. So the other photos are basically these two here, are basically pictures of my group and I working together on our systems and collecting and distributing plants around. I had to learn that accepting help from group members is also mandatory and necessary in order for our group to succeed in the end. So, the fear of failure is always going to be there. It's almost impossible to overcome. However, I was able to reduce the fear factor by quite a bit. Each and every test, mission, and assignment helped with overcoming the fear of failure. I realized that this fear before it happens is just a figment in your imagination, similar to the way that Exorcist ghosts are. Gone but still fresh memory. Of course, I've gone through many times of failure. It's the path to success. The one mission I had gone through consisted of gathering information about a certain ghost that seemed attracted to different foods, but it was particularly fond of chicken stir fry. I had to figure out a recipe that would best attract this ghost to my current position. And it turned out that I had to go through many trials and many different recipes in order to find the one that attracted it the best. Failure is definitely something that we're all familiar with and all afraid of, whether it's about ghost busting or not. So, here's some more evidence I'd like to analyze. In this top photo here, there's a screenshot of my group and I's documentary. We had issues with the documentary last minute because suddenly all our audio had disappeared and we had to recuperate for the loss, which we were able to do, whether it was by re-recording audio or finding it. And this picture down here is a blog post explaining about what we gone through and how we were able to find it again, and how we were able to input it by basically the last minute, and it was kind of scary. The second photo, third photo, down here is a group of member pointing at a young bell pepper. The reason why this is a significant part of the evidence is because of the detriment we had over the spring break. And I was afraid that because of the plants dying, we wouldn't be able to harvest enough vegetables to get credit for it. But in the end, all was good. So the fear of being, another fear I've overcome was being possessed. This could go hand in hand with being ready for anything, being prepared for anything during any kind of mission or assignment. Possession is unhealthy and can cause major stress on the mind or body. I've experienced certain levels of spirit possession. It causes a lot of problems that have me mentally not quite all there. It was also a cause of one of my failures. Well, I should say unsuccessful missions. When being possessed, some of the side effects are slower thinking, lack of motivation, and inability to concentrate very well on anything you're doing. Possession is something that decreases your standardized hunting scores by quite a bit because it's crucial that you get your hunting done before the due date. I can say from a first-hand account that being possessed is something that's very easily avoidable. I've been possessed, and trust, it's not a pretty sight when you have to tell your teacher or your professor that you are incapable of completing a mission on time because of spirit possession or procrastination. So, here's some more evidence I'd like to go over. The first picture is a photo of me working on a group cooking schedule. That's one at the top. I was in charge of planning out what everyone was supposed to do during the 1-hour cooking block, and I felt that I could have probably done it in a faster amount of time if I actually got down the business I worked on. The one at the top right here is a screenshot of the Russian Revolution. The paper itself was okay, but when it came to the outline, I was very confused on how outlines work and how they help you in the end of the final product. So I feel that because of that, that's also another thing I learned over this semester too. The largest picture down here is a picture of a myocardial infarction infographic, which is part of the family genetics project that we were learning in Kaneko's class. And ever since of this project, there's certain things in school activities and such that held me back from maybe completing as fast as I could, and also that even though I had the time to do it, it could have been a lot better. The fear of being unprepared. Another thing that's a figment of the imagination until it actually happens. It's avoidable, and I think that's when the fear settles in the most. You know you can do something about it, and it can still happen even if you're not careful. That's probably why it's such a strong fear on the official fear chart of the MP Exploratory Academy for Ghostbusting. Being unprepared is not only a detriment to your mission, or sometimes when in this field of duty, to your own safety. For example, not being equipped ghostbusting can become very hazardous. It can also result in team failure or individual failure. It's also something I have experienced directly and indirectly when and during important missions. So here's some more evidence that the last set of evidence that I'd like to analyze with you. It seems that a recurring problem in this entire semester was about the plant dead. And in this case, in the beginning of the semester, we had planted our first plants. And I was worried that because of the timing of how to plant plants in order for the final, I was afraid that we wouldn't have planted enough. That what if something happened and we weren't able to recuperate from it? But in the end, actually, I felt prepared. And thankfully, we were mostly ready for it. The blog post down here is explaining how we harvested some vegetables before the spring break. So I'm pretty sure after that we were good for anything. But it's just the fact that we lost most of our plants that was pretty hard to overcome. And thank you for listening, and I hope you consider the MP Exploratory Academy for Ghostbusting as one of your future careers.
Danny, can you please step in front of the podium so we can have record of your get-up? Thank you. Amazing. Awesome. Danny, well, you seemed like you had fun making this PoL presentation. So did you really enjoy putting this together? It seems like you had it.
Actually, yeah, it was pretty fun. I mean, taking the photos for the thing, I mean, that was pretty intense, actually. Like, it looks like I'm running, but in order for my small iPhone to capture my running, I had to run like I'm running. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty fun doing this. I mean, thinking about the ideas especially, I think it's hard to connect ghostbusting or ghost hunting to actual MPX. So I think I had a challenging but fun time trying to figure out how I'm going to do that.
Definitely. Good. Any other questions for Danny? Okay. Good job.